Time for our meteorology segment. Will you be frightened? Will you be scared and spooked? Will you continue to believe that carbon dioxide is a pollutant and a greenhouse gas on planet Earth? Well, we'll see if we can reinforce or perhaps undermine that belief. But we're starting out looking at the NASA Ghost Lightning Mapper. Some heavy lightning here in places like Minnesota, Wisconsin, moving across Lake Michigan into the northern portion of the state of Michigan. And there's a band of moisture stretching all the way from Arizona to Lake Superior, just about to extend to Lake Huron. Also some lightning around the Gulf Coast and in between Florida and the Bahamas. Here's a real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org. It's what I like to use when I hear thunder, and we've got some terrestrial lightning here in the U.S. Hey, Traverse City, go out and look to your northwest. You may see some spectacular views over the lake. Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. There's thunder rolling in. Anyway, we'll zoom back out to your global lightning map from lightningmaps.org. And we just saw some Spanish lightning come in while we recorded the video. Actually, while we streamed it live. Next, looking at pressure cells here on windy.com. There's where things are now. We'll advance this into tomorrow. This is the Euro forecast for pressure, the European forecast for pressure at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. And let me just check the life of the stream before we go back to the weather.gov map, and everything looks just fine. So let's return here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Here's the weather.gov map, and we've got quite a bit of warnings here. Some flood advisories and some flash flood watches, especially in Arizona and New Mexico. Anyway, feel free to click on your county at weather.gov. Weather.gov will show you this map. And here's this typhoon about to make landfall on China. It's been stalling here, barely moving from the east of Taiwan to the north of Taiwan. And these are the surface winds from nullschool.net. Nearly showing hurricane force winds there, not quite. We did see 70-mile-per-hour winds while we did show prep, so close to 70-mile-per-hour winds there. It's probably a little more than 70 miles per hour, and it looks like the heavy winds are just about to make landfall, adding insult to injury, as China has been massively flooded to begin with. And let's just zoom out here. Here are the surface winds of the entire eastern world. And here are the jet streams, which are probably the best global weather prediction feature. If you wanted to forecast global weather, folks, and you only had to look at one set of data, the jet stream would probably be the best one. Look at the concentrated jet stream here blowing backwards over the western Pacific and backwards over the North Indian Ocean as well. Jet stream blowing east to west in those areas. Also extreme meridional jet stream flow over the northern hemisphere. Look at how incoherent the jet stream is when we center the planet on the North Geographic Pole. Is it becoming hexagonally shaped? Is the jet stream becoming hexagonally shaped? Moving on to show the surface winds, the jet streams of the western world. There are the jet streams of the west. Let me rotate that a little bit more. There we go. That's a little bit better. You can see Europe. Some extreme meridional jet stream flow there in Alaska. The west coast of Alaska seeing some air straight from the Arctic blowing across its shores. And you can see the way convective forces are still in charge, especially over places like this. The jet stream staying well to the north of most of the U.S. And that's the cause for your funky weather. If you're seeing weather patterns move in odd directions in the U.S., it's because of the jet stream or lack thereof. Anyway, there are the surface winds of the western world. And here's a view of the of this hurricane, typhoon, whatever you want to call it. It's called Inna, I think, which I have no idea what that means. It doesn't have a very well-defined eye wall or anything like that. And let's just go back there for a quick moment and look at sea surface temperature anomalies, as there's been a lot of cold water around it. So SSTA, sea surface temperature anomalies, and you can see it's entirely surrounded by cold water, not an indication that it will increase in strength. And if you look at the jet stream, there still is an input here in the jet stream. So this is we're expecting this to stagnate. That would be my best guess, that it's not going to change very much. But all that cold water is certainly not an input to increase its power, as cold water decreases the amount of convective forces needed to strengthen a typhoon. Now let's talk about carbon, as we're getting lots of comments about carbon on things like Facebook. I think people may think that I think that carbon is a greenhouse gas in terms of the Earth's climate. So here's a quick little, I'm going to put that back on the screen in a minute. There's an article in the phys.org section about the ridiculous, silly, and nonsensical 1850s thinking. Now this is just as bad as the ideas about how the sun works. That's 1850s thinking as well. So this woman here, she was called Eunice Foote, and she put a bunch of carbon in a bottle and then some regular air in a bottle, carbon dioxide that is. She put carbon dioxide in one bottle and regular air in another bottle, and then put them in the sunlight, and observed that the bottle full of carbon got hotter than the bottle full of regular nitrogen, oxygen, air. Now, this isn't science, because the bottle isn't the Earth's climate or atmosphere. We don't even know where most of the carbon comes from, folks. The idea that we're actually calculating the amount of carbon that humans put into the atmosphere versus how much carbon comes out of the ocean, you realize that when the ocean water heats up and cools down, carbon simply evaporates out of the water. Also, life exhaling produces carbon. Most biotic organisms have a carbon footprint and are not a net store of carbon, including most plants. Only things like mature trees are actually carbon sinks. Everything else produces carbon and has a carbon footprint, which shockingly makes the planet greener, and it makes life easier for humans, as it reduces the likelihood of things like food shortages. So as technology increases and food science becomes better and better, carbon dioxide becomes even more valuable. It is not a pollutant. It's the most important trace gas on Earth, and without it, you'd be dead. Carbon sequestration is one of the dumbest ideas ever conceived by mankind. And my goal for carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 1,200 parts per million. So I'm not going to encourage you to burn a tire today, but nobody has any idea how many tires are being burned right now. And check out this hockey stick graph. And let me just let this article scroll all the way down here before I move to the next slide. And as I do this, I would ask you folks, if carbon dioxide controls the climate, then why was it so warm during the Minoan warm period, the Viking warm period, the Roman warm period, and the medieval warm period with such low levels of carbon dioxide? Can you explain that? And why is it that on this graph, showing the geologic record over the past 600 million years, clearly shows no correlation between average global temperature and carbon dioxide? Were you aware that Antarctica's ice sheets formed 34 million years ago when the planet was 3 degrees Celsius warmer than it is today? Yeah. If you're worried about the Antarctican ice sheets melting, let me just reiterate that. The Antarctican ice sheets formed about 34 million years ago when the planet was 3 degrees warmer than it is today. Thanks for leaving a comment, SnideGrime7. Yes, we're looking at lots of weather forecast websites. And this here is a graph showing 600 million years of climate change, where we took stuff like tree ring data and calculated the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And there you go. Carbon dioxide versus temperature over the past 600 million years. Most people who know nothing about atmospheric physics, geology, etc., will look at this graph and they'll have no explanation for it. So anyway, that's that. Also, I'd like to welcome all of our viewers to the Neo Renaissance. Visit our links on our homepage. You can head to smashomash.org. It'll redirect you here. And if you click on smAsho merch, you'll find our merch shop. We just put up 2 new designs, and I would recommend all of us to Mensa and Mansa. Make Earth not suck again. Make America not suck again. Do not pole vault the caldera. My vaccination status is none of your business. And actually, today I'm actually wearing one. So today, the featured product is the My Vaccination Status is None of Your Business t-shirt. HIPAA, because people that aren't involved in your healthcare or the administration thereof have absolutely no business knowing anything about any of your medical status. So again, you can find it on the homepage. smAsho merch will send you to the Redbubble shop. Thanks to our patrons, the true source of funding for the content. And if you're viewing this any place besides YouTube, consider becoming a patron. Even consider becoming a patron if you're viewing it on YouTube, as we make just this side of nothing to put the videos on YouTube. Now, we did stream this one live to Twitch. We would encourage our Twitch viewers to become a patron as well. It'll give you the opportunity to actually appear in our videos if you like. So thanks to all of our viewers, regardless of where you're located, especially our patrons who are doing things to assist us, such as provide financial incentive to make sure these videos continue to exist and remain publicly visible. Next, looking at radar.weather.gov. Heavy rains here moving out of Minnesota and into Wisconsin and Michigan. Also, heavy rains continue to fall here around most of the state of Arizona. Here's what's going on in the cloud layer. It's the NASA GOES 3.9 nanometer radiation map. It's too dark to see the clouds, so we use this map. And we put out most of our videos when it's actually dark out, and we're running a little bit late today, so let's hurry up. Here's the water vapor map. And that should give you some insight into the way these systems are going to move, or in this case, not move, as they're stagnating. And here's your meteorological recap. There's your U.S. Doppler radar map. Here's a cloud layer. And there's the water vapor map. And that's about it, folks. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for leaving comments. Snidegrime7 and El Macancio. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAshomash, signing off from the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news.